Welcome back everyone to our California coast trip. Today we are tackling all of Big Sur. I am so unbelievably excited. It's been years since I've been here, 2022, and I'm actually seeing quite a few new spots this time in addition to some of my old favorites as well.
Later this trip, we're actually going to come back and finish the north part of Big Sur since there is a road closure right now, but I can't wait. Big Sur is like one of the most iconic things in the entire state of California, if not the entire United States, so I can't wait to go see this.
For day 2 of our California Coast series, I'm so excited to present Big Sur to you all, from its jaw-dropping overlooks to its charming redwood groves, gorgeous waterfalls, and so much more. We begin just south of Big Sur's southernmost point, following in the footsteps of our first coastal stop, Morro Rock, which hopefully you've all seen in the last video. This is the Elephant Seal Vista Point, which was a suggestion by Evan that he knew I had to see since I'm such a fan of wildlife. This is the only elephant seal rookery in the world that is easily accessible, free, and open to the public every day of the year. Most others you have to pay a fee to access, but here you could just pull up and make a quick stop on your way up Highway 1. Some fun facts about California elephant seals is they are the largest seals in the northern hemisphere, known for their long migrations. Evan noted there were a lot more out and about during his one other visit in the winter, but I was still more than happy with how many there were in the spring. These guys are absolutely adorable, and watching them play in the sand, covering themselves to regulate body temperature, was great. A fun little start to the day before making our way to Big Sur, and more specifically, Ragged Point.
Okay, we've officially entered Big Sur. So happy to be back here, guys. So cool. We're here at Ragged Point. We're just gonna check it out briefly, and then we'll come back for sunset if time allows.
You know, it's hard to believe Ragged Point is the very first overlook in Big Sur, considering it may very well be the most dramatic. As this was a first-time visit for me, as with everything in the southern half of the park, I was blown away. The 400-foot high cliffs are remarkably steep and lead to a violent rocky coastline. The closest thing I'd compare this to is Hawaii's Na Pali coast, but even so, this had a distinct California feel to it. Just a completely over-the-top first impression of Big Sur. I could not believe it.
This is unbelievable. You literally come across a sign as you drive over here that says welcome to Big Sur, and this is the first pull-off right after, I think, one of the most beautiful coastal views I've ever seen. That was unbelievable.
Oh, I love this place. I came a long time ago, like 2 years ago, and just for me to finally come back here. Last time I didn't continue on the drive, but this time I'm going to continue forward to see more of Big Sur. I'm just so excited. It's such a great first impression.
From here, we made our way 10 minutes north to Salmon Creek Falls, but on the way stopped at our first of literally dozens of pull-offs we stopped at during our time in Big Sur. That's a massive part of a visit to the area, but there are so many amazing ones that I'll hardly be able to name many of them. A big part of that is because several are without names, so just keep that in mind when you come here. If you see a view that looks particularly interesting, stop. You will not regret it. I especially love those which featured one of Big Sur's scenic bridges as a focal point, or particularly emphatic rock features or bluffs.
Evan, I think we've stopped at damn near every overlook in this place.
I can't help it. It's so beautiful.
While on the topic of overlooks, we've got to talk about Highway 1, which runs through Big Sur. This famous scenic drive goes from Orange County in Southern California all the way to the Bay Area before transitioning to Highway 101, which extends into Northern California, Oregon, and Washington. Without question, Big Sur is the most iconic stretch of at least Highway 1, but also probably the Highway 101 extension too. Footage of us navigating the roads don't quite communicate how crazy they are. They're windy, narrow, and occasionally at extreme elevations. Big Sur's stretch of Highway 1 is quite well known for its enduring construction history, as it took 18 years to build. By nature, its challenging location results in the occasional rock slide, which shuts the road down for elongated periods of time. Most recently, there was a pretty serious example in early 2024, which extended the closure of roads in the middle of Big Sur from January 2023 that was also caused by previous landslides. It's basically a never-ending nightmare for the state, and though they say it'll reopen in 2025, I have my doubts. Regardless, this presents full, uninterrupted travel between the southern and northern parts of Big Sur, to elaborate on what Evan said in the intro. That's why we return to Big Sur at the end of our trip, as both sections are can't miss, but require a lot of backtracking right now. Salmon Creek Falls is a spot I'd never heard anyone talk about ahead of our visit, but it's a real easy hike at just 0.3 miles round trip and flat the entire way. With how early it comes up after entering Big Sur from the south, it's shocking this isn't more popular, but in a way that makes it feel more special. The 120-foot tall beauty has a fascinating shape to it, as a massive boulder splits the waterfall in two before the streams come together halfway down to the pool below. Combined with its location in this narrow gorge, I absolutely fell in love with the spot. That said, to get the up-close angles you see here, you'll have to navigate some pretty sketchy logs and rock hop across the creek.
Bro, if you fall, you're wet. You are so wet. You got it. There you go. Why does no one talk about Salmon Creek Falls? It's such an easy hike to get to. It's right off Highway 1. This is absolutely fantastic, and the flow is so good in a time where a lot of the waterfalls in this area aren't even flowing that good. I can't believe it.
This is like one of the most impressive waterfalls I've ever seen. It's just like two waterfalls flowing in and then this little gorge like this. Oh, it's just so cool.
Another can't miss spot in southern Big Sur is Limekiln State Park, 40 minutes north, and this is just about where you have to turn around due to the road closure. That said, it's not like you're making some massive detour just to experience it, since getting there is is one of my favorite stretches of drive maybe ever. I'll once again reiterate that you should stop at as many viewpoints as you can while here. In any case, Limekiln has what I'd consider to be Big Sur's best redwood grove. That's right, this place contains the tallest species of tree on Earth, and makes it so you don't need to venture all the way to Redwood National Park near the border with Oregon to see these things. Established in 1994, the 711-acre state park offers a lot in just one short signature hiking trail. It takes you through incredibly lush redwood trees, past a stunning waterfall, and ending at actual limekiln remnants, which is a structure used to burn limestone. Since I'm not a history buff, I was fine passing up the latter, especially considering our time constraints, but I was amped for those other two features. The Limekiln Falls Trail specifically is 1.4 miles round trip with 321 feet of elevation gain. To us, it felt mostly flat, but I wouldn't call it an easy journey. Well, see, that's sort of a lie. Going through the redwoods is a cakewalk and worth coming for in and of itself. It's one of the most beautiful groves I've ever seen, with Limekiln Creek running alongside the trail. But due to fires and landslides, the maintained Falls Trail has been closed since early 2023, and the state has just never gotten around to repairing it.
So we came out here for the falls. Says trail's closed. If you're like us, you can literally just skedaddle across this log here. Since there's no trail right now, look at this. That's crazy.
As you can see, getting to Limekiln Falls nowadays is not for the faint of heart. That said, it's only about a quarter of a mile off the maintained trail to reach it, so if you're up for a bit of an adventure, I imagine most would be able to do it. The payoff is also well worth it, with a near 100-foot drop that's got a peculiar shape to it. This waterfall similarly splits in half like Salmon Creek Falls, but is obviously very different at the same time. And just like last time, you're in a spectacular little canyon that adds so much to the overall beauty of this spot. I wish Limekiln Falls was more easily accessible, because in its current state, not many individuals are seeking it out, leading to it receiving far less recognition than it probably deserves.
Not only was the first section of the hike absolutely incredible with the redwoods, but the waterfall has a lot more flow than I expected, so maybe Salmon Falls wasn't a coincidence. This thing is absolutely crazy right now. I absolutely love it. I don't even know which waterfall I prefer, honestly.
Yeah, we were kind of expecting this waterfall to be dry because in pictures it's always dry, but no, it's flowing really good, and just the hike to get here was absolutely amazing. So yeah, this is such a good spot.
Earlier, on our way to Limekiln State Park, we drove by one of the more well-known viewpoints in southern Big Sur, Sand Dollar Beach. We were originally thinking of skipping it since it is a fee area, a lot like the state parks, which offer much more, but with sunset approaching, we caved, and I definitely think we made the right decision.
All right, we ran a little low on time, as we expected. That's usually how things go on these trips. So instead of doing Ragged Point Sunset, we're doing, what is this? Sand Dollar Beach?
Yeah, Sand Dollar Beach. Yeah, so we saw this place coming through, and it's actually a pretty famous spot on this part of the Big Sur coast, and so we thought it'd be a really cool sunset spot. So
Sand Dollar Beach is great because it's actually pretty interactive. You have trails leading to several different viewing platforms, and even one that takes you down to the beaches. Personally, my favorite look faces north, but I also love the southern view with the rock formations jetting out of the water. Sunset here was absolutely magical and made for an unbelievable conclusion to our first day in the region.
Well, that's the first half of the video for you guys. We're going to be coming back here later on in the trip and doing the northern section of the park because the road is not fully reopened yet. However, that was absolutely amazing, and I can't even imagine this trip without having done the southern part of Big Sur because that was unbelievably incredible.
that was amazing. I've been wanting to come back to Big Sur and do this coast for forever, and it just today lived up to the hype in every which way. From waterfalls, redwoods, coastal bluffs, coves, everything you can think of. It was just absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to explore the northern part later on in this trip.
A few moments later.
All right, we've hopped in a time machine and are back in Big Sur a few days later. Look at this weather, completely clear. Nice warm day, so definitely pretty different weather than last time where it was a little colder. But yeah, we're seeing the northern part of Big Sur today, and I cannot wait.
Even when North and South Big Sur are connected, the northern stretch is by far more visited due to its close proximity to San Francisco and the rest of the Bay Area. Your first attraction of interest upon entering Big Sur this way would probably be Point Lobo State Reserve, which we visit at a different point in our road trip that I'll include in a general Bay Area video. After that, it's Garrapatta State Park, and we end up making that our final stop since parking was congested as we passed by. We actually took the approach of seeing all the pull-off viewpoints on the way out and then the real popular stuff on the way back, just because we wanted to save the best for last. The one exception to this that we couldn't resist is Bixby Creek Bridge, one of the most iconic photo ops in all of Big Sur. This is one of the tallest single-span concrete bridges on Earth, spanning 714 feet and standing 260 feet above Bixby Creek, which empties out onto a drop-dead gorgeous beach. The turquoise color was something straight out of a dream, and the corresponding cliffs were some of the steepest we'd seen up to that point. On top of that, I noticed a sea arch to the right of the beach that I don't recall seeing the last time I was here. I was quite literally speechless by the scene, but that's not to disregard the other overlooks to follow. This time, I really don't have any names to share, they just don't have any, but I can tell you with absolute certainty that we somehow stopped considerably more times in the north part of Big Sur compared to the south.
These viewpoints are just amazing, and it reminded me how much I missed Big Sur despite being gone for just a few days.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be back. The southern part is absolutely amazing too, but the northern part is something special even more about it. Now we're heading on to McWay Falls, which is one of my most anticipated spots of the entire trip, so yeah, let's head over there.
Heading 40 minutes south, McWay Falls is possibly the most recognizable landmark anywhere in Big Sur, and that's for good reason. It's one of just 25 tide waterfalls in the entire world, 6 of which being in North America, which are falls that pour directly into the ocean. It's situated in Julia Pfeiffer Beach State Park, which unlike other state parks in Big Sur, you won't need to fork over an admission fee to visit so long as you park along Highway 1 outside of its entrance. From here, you can waltz on into the park and navigate its short overlook trail, which is under a half-a-mile round trip. From that point and from up on the outskirts of the road are going to be your best possible views of McWay Falls. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately depending on who you ask, these are the only possible angles one can get of the waterfall. I say that because while yes, it would be cool to get up close and personal with it, the cove being untouched and people-free makes this view an all-time classic. The 80-foot tall falls gently land on a perfect sandy beach before the water trails its way into the Pacific Ocean. McWay Cove is a remarkable complement to the falls with the immaculate watercolor, rocky bluffs, and trees lining ridges. To me, this is one of America's single most beautiful viewpoints. You'll be at a loss for words when you see it for yourself.
McWay Falls is just my favorite spot on Big Sur. This is incredibly picturesque. I remember last time when I was here with my brother, we literally sat up here for probably an hour and didn't say anything just because this doesn't necessitate words.
It is how do you describe it?
It's unapparent.
Yeah, it's oh my gosh, it's just so cool. It definitely is one of the best spots in California, and I would say it's one of the most beautiful spots in all the United States. It's just the cove, how turquoise the water is, bluffs, and then the waterfall flowing into it is just like a scene that you would think of in your imagination, but never imagine it's actually real. It's so amazing.
Just 5 minutes north, and much to my surprise, also a part of Julia Pfeiffer Beach State Park, is the short hike into Partington Cove. One of the rare new spots for me in the northern part of Big Sur, and as I understand it, an incredibly well-known location. While short, the 1 mile round-trip journey is quite steep, with 341 feet of elevation gain packed in on the way back. This takes you down into 2 different bays, Partington Cove itself being accessed by this really cool tunnel carved through rock. It's a neat reveal coming outside and seeing that mesmerizing turquoise water, but if I'm being honest, I might consider this one of the more overrated spots in Big Sur. By all means is it still worth visiting, but I find the views from afar and up on top of the cliffs to be superior in every way. I even preferred the other cove right next door, which felt much more secluded and less busy, and it was interesting seeing Partington Creek flow directly onto the beach. A fun experience all around, but when I think of Big Sur, it's really kind of overshadowed in my opinion. A prime example of one of those spots is our next location, Pfeiffer Beach, about 20 minutes north, and this actually deserves the hype to me. It's reachable by a short spur road through Sycamore Canyon, which is highly lush and beautiful in its own right. When you arrive, there is a fee you'll have to pay, but 2 large parking lots, so you shouldn't have to worry about overcrowding as much as some of the other spots. There's this absolutely amazing cypress tree tunnel acting as the entrance for the beach, and then the reveal is otherworldly.
Oh my gosh, Pfeiffer Beach is such a special spot with the keyhole out there and all the cool rocks and bluffs. And Evan pointed out the sand color. It's really different from pretty much everything we've seen out here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to pick up on camera, but it's definitely got a nice little bit of pink and purple mixed into it.
Let's see, yeah. You can't really tell when I pick it up, but you can kind of tell from afar.
This is easily one of the most magical areas in Big Sur because it feels so secluded from everything else and there are so many defining characteristics to it. I mentioned the unique sand color, which has faded dramatically over time due to the sheer number of visitors this place gets, but still super cool. You have a handful of different beaches with these massive bluffs shooting out of them, and my favorite example being this keyhole arch. Few things we saw on this trip were more satisfying than the waves rushing through the arch and crashing on the other side. Then, a little to the left, you'll find a double arch formation which you can climb all around. I'm a sucker for that feeling of exploration in nature, which you don't get very often as you typically have to stay on a trail or on a designated viewing platform. You forget how rare being on a beach is in Big Sur despite how many there are, and to see one this magnificent with all these fascinating features was epic.
Pfeiffer Beach was absolutely amazing. This place is so cool with the sea caves here and then the Keystone Arch over there and then this bay here. There's so many different viewpoints. It's so cool. This is definitely worth deviating off the highway to come down and see this.
A few miles away, you'll find an entirely different state park, Pfeiffer Big Sur State Park, which contains the largest and most accessible redwood grove in all of Big Sur. While I don't think it's quite as amazing as the lesser-known Limekiln redwoods, it's still great to visit most of the time. Unfortunately, the day we went, the hike to Pfeiffer Falls was closed due to maintenance, which overcomplicated getting to an already not so impressive waterfall. I mainly wanted to highlight it in this video because it's such a popular spot, but really it's not one you have to go far out of your way for. We ended up taking the longer and much steeper Valley View trail to the falls, which also wasn't great because it takes you over the redwoods rather than through them, which for many is the entire point of coming here. Pfeiffer Falls itself is a unique 60-foot ribbon waterfall that I do enjoy on its own, but but when compared to the other waterfalls in Big Sur, it is painfully mediocre, to be honest.
Well, that was a little frustrating. We were trying to take the Pfeiffer Falls trail. That was closed for some reason, so we had to take the Valley View trail to Pfeiffer Falls, which is just a little annoying because it's a lot more effort than we expected for not a lot of reward. The big reason you want to do this hike is you want to go through the redwood trees. Granted, we've seen a lot of groves already on this trip, but the waterfall at the end is just okay in my opinion. It never really flows that well even after a big rain, and then not being able to see the redwoods from the bottom was a little bit of a buzzkill in my opinion, but overall still added variety to the day, so I'm not going to complain too much.
Yeah, like Mark mentioned, it does add variety to the day, and so even though the closure was a little annoying, it was a little more effort, the other thing that makes it worse is that the way we're doing this trip is that this was actually the last day of the trip for us, and so we're absolutely exhausted. So all the videos that you've seen on the channel from this series, all that we did before, so this is our last thing, so we're very tired, so that's why this hike felt worse. But besides that, I definitely think you could pass on it.
Continuing on our northbound trajectory, we stopped at another handful of pull-offs, including one that goes by the name of Rocky Point. I wanted to highlight this one specifically because I genuinely think it could be the most underrated overlook in Big Sur. Maybe it's because we went in the spring, but the greenery and influx of flowers was breathtaking. It made it difficult to get a picture that wasn't astoundingly beautiful. You also have a ton of ice plant up here, more than anywhere else we saw in Big Sur, which is a succulent plant that sadly is invasive to coastal California, but you can't help but love this stuff because visually it is pure eye candy. The colors coming off of them don't even seem real, and above anything else, it's what makes Rocky Point a must visit.
Oh my gosh, Rocky Point is unbelievable, and I can't believe this is my first time doing this. When I came in 2022, I didn't even know this existed, but it is absolutely one of my favorite spots, at least on this end of Big Sur, but maybe just all of Big Sur.
We almost drove past it, but now, oh man, I can't imagine not coming here because it's absolutely one of the best views on Big Sur.
To conclude our time in Big Sur, we made one final stop at the aforementioned Garrapatta State Park. We were glad to see parking had opened up, so we jumped on the chance to experience the Garrapatta Bluff Trail. This is a mostly flat, little over half a mile round trip hike with a spectacular trail design. Contrary to everywhere else in this video, the emphasis here was clearly on the bluffs and rocks as opposed to the cliffs. Not to say the cliffs also didn't add to the area's beauty. It was a superb location to end at as I reflected on all we'd experienced in Big Sur and the trip as a whole, because as we stated, Northern Big Sur took place at the end of our road trip, separate from the day we went to Southern Big Sur.
Well, that's going to go ahead and do it for the Big Sur video, and I have to say, this place is amazing. I mean, these last two spots that we've done alone, Garrapatta State Park and then Rocky Point, are actually two of the more underrated spots that we went to in this area. I thought they were both absolutely amazing, but then you get to some of the more iconic ones like McWay Falls, Bixby Creek Bridge, all the redwood groves, absolutely stunning. Ragged Point, which is an absolute highlight. The cliffs are beautiful. Some of the underrated gems in this park, like some of those waterfalls on the southern part.
Yeah, we started off at the southern coast at Ragged Point. That was absolutely amazing. And then all the waterfalls that we did, the redwood groves, amazing coastal views down south. The coastal bluffs down there are so huge. And up here, you got some more of the iconic spots like McWay Falls, which is unbelievable. And all the other viewpoints along the way are just amazing. And these last two spots just kind of sum up just how good Big Sur is. It's one of the most beautiful places in the entire world.
With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. There's still lots more videos to come. We'll see you then. Peace out.